Okay, so welcome back. This is just it's not really a progress update on this mare, but just to give you a little feel of what she's going through today. We haven't done so much riding. It's been a little bit over the past couple of days, just getting her a bit more comfortable moving her feet. Took her out in the desert for a really long walk. Did a bit of trot, a bit of canter, but 30 seconds or something like that. I just wanted to get out and explore and just relax with me on her back. Today, I've come out, I've sat on her. She feels like she's full of energy. She feels like she really wants to go, or she wants to do something. She was stomping her feet a few minutes ago, so maybe she's given me a little bit of that attitude that we saw a few days ago. But regardless of that, I'm going to go about my session today with one goal in mind. We've got a pretty big arena today, and she really needs to get to the level where we can just cruise, where I'm not worried about her bucking me off or taking off or changing gait. If I ask for a trot, I don't want her to canter, but if I ask her to walk, I don't want her to trot. If I ask her to canter, I don't want her to come back to a trot, or worse, go off into a gallop. And we want to achieve that on a loose rein where I'm not holding her in place. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't know if she'll stand still. Let's see. Okay. Really, what it is, the reason why this is such an important part of the whole process is because imagine that you're just sitting on the horse, not asking them to do a damn thing. Okay. Their mind, their brain waves are almost like, imagine in a hospital like a heart rate monitor. Okay, every few seconds it goes beep, and you see a spike on the graph. Okay, right now in her mind, or generally speaking, on a quiet horse, you're sitting not doing anything. That sign is very, very small amplitude, so it kind of goes every few seconds beep. So her mind is clear, nothing is foggy, there's nothing crazy going on inside her mind that is allowing her or not allowing her to listen to me or to hear my slight suggestions. So you can see this is attitude. Yeah, this is attitude. So we're going to get rid of that today. Yes. It's because I've been so nice and gentle. Yes. So what we need to do, once the horse starts to walk, again, sometimes the brain waves start to get excited, so those peaks on the heart rate monitor, let's say, they go up a little bit higher, and in the trot it gets even higher, and in the canter it just goes absolutely wild. Add to that the noise that is coming and the interference that's coming from you as a rider, pulling on the reins, tapping her with your legs, bumping on her back, whatever it is. What we need to get to is to a level where she can walk, trot, canter, and stand still without feeling like something drastic is happening. Okay, and based on that foundation where she can cruise at all three gaits and also at the stop, is essential for me to be able to add additional requests from her in those gaits. Otherwise, what happens, for example, is you'll have your horse out cantering and they're already excited, and you're trying to hold them back with your reins and they're getting more frustrated. It's almost impossible to ask them to do something. You have to make them do it at that stage because they're just not with you. There's no connection. So we definitely need that. Okay, and I've taken it slow with her over the past few days, but at some point we do have to get to the level where she starts to sweat a little bit and gets worked, and then any attitude that she might have will be exaggerated, and depending on the situation, I may just ignore it, or I may stop the session for a small period and get to fixing that, and then get back to the training. Yeah. So the way that we're going to do this, I'm going to start off in let's not say the walk. Let's go for the trot straight away. I'm going to initially use transitions to get her to understand that when I ask you to trot, at some point in the near future, I'm going to ask you to come back to a walk. I may even ask you to stop and back up. Transitions, okay? And then I'm going to ask you to trot again, and then I'm going to ask you to stop or walk, and then I'm going to ask you to trot, and then I'm going to ask you to walk. I may bend you around, turn you right, turn you left. At some point, I want her to be expecting a change, a transition when she's in that trot. At a certain point, I'll start to feel like she's pretty much connected and she's waiting for me to say, slow her down. At that point, I will start letting her trot off a lot longer. And then potentially, if I feel like we've gotten to the stride of things, I may just allow her to trot for a continuous, and I've got my watch on today, so a continuous 5, normally I do 10, but for the purpose of this video, you know, I'm going to do at least 5 minutes of trotting. The other thing is, with this initial session, you don't want to work on establishing a consistent gait and establishing control of where they go. Okay, that's where a Western saddle or a saddle with something that you can hold on to really does go a long way, because you know it can be a little bit dangerous if you don't do that. You may be trotting this way thinking the horse is going to go left, and then all of a sudden, boom, they go right and you go flying off. So I'd recommend you have something to hold on to which is not your horse's mouth. Could be the saddle, could be anything. All right, where was I? Yeah, so it's only about speed. It's only about the gait that I've asked for. It's not really about direction. If I feel like, okay, I need to move her away from the fence, I will, but 99% of the time, there is no direction. Okay, so here we go. The way I'm gonna ask for this trot is touch. She moves off, good. And my apologies if I'm not in the frame or if my back is turned away from you, but this is really about her. This is how I would honestly go about training any horse. I'd need them to be able to walk, trot, and canter on a loose rein without them being worried. So no direction. Not going to give them any direction. Okay, she feels quite relaxed. If I sit in my seat, she stops. Good. So that was the first transition. Okay, now I'm just going to ask for the trot. I'm going to hold my horn. Okay, and just let her go. So that's a few strides. Here I'm going to sit and I'm going to stop her. Then I'm going to ask her again. Trot. And this whole time, the thing that I'm thinking about, number one, is how's my horse feeling? Am I riding with her? Am I trying to stay out of her way? My legs definitely have to be off of her belly. I don't want to be touching her or bumping her every time. So there we go. She had to choose. She came back to it to walk. Ask her to trot. So I'm making sure that I do not touch her with my legs. And you can see she's pretty fresh here. Her head is up, her ears are up. She feels quite forwards in her trot. Pick up, ask her to walk. So that's basically transition. Now I'm going to ask her to trot, touch with my legs. Okay, a bit of attitude came out there. She's resisting, saying, I really don't feel like trotting. Well, that's part of life. The only problem with holding on to something while you're trotting like this is you start to really tense up your hand. And when you tense up your hand, the rest of your body starts to get tense as well. And really, for this to work properly, you need to be breathing nicely. You need to be super relaxed on your horse. not worried about anything. So what I would recommend is that you don't hold on to a horn. I'd recommend that you get some kind of a strap that you could hold on to, but have your hand there just in case. So that you're not actually tensing your fist. At the same time, pick up on my reins, let her walk. Relaxing the whole time. And I'm going to tell you when I'm going to start my 5 minutes. Right now it's just about transitions. Ask her to trot. That was nice, no attitude there. Good girl. Start to touch her a little bit. Now at any stage, obviously, if she takes off in a canter, I'd immediately shut her down. I'd do like a 90-degree turn or whatever I need to do just to shut her down. So already now, she feels a lot softer with me. She's now starting to explore the arena a little bit. Okay, I'm tempted to touch her here with my legs because she's slowing down, but I've got to let her commit to the mistake of walking and breaking gait before I do anything. So the lesson is pretty clear on what we're trying to do. So again, there's a few poles on the ground. Up to her if she wants to go over them. There's a very small jump over there as well. Here she's gonna stop. No, she's not. You did good. You did very good. Ignore that. Now she wants to go the other way. She's basically just exploring the arena with me on her back. I'm not giving her any guidance whatsoever. And if she does want to trot slowly for me in this session, that's perfect. So no guidance there, I just said trot. And she had to figure out that she had to get away from the fence. Attitude there. Attitude there. Okay, my 5 minutes started about 30 seconds ago. I feel this is good. She doesn't feel like she's going to be taking off. If anything, she may give me a nice big buck. Because of that attitude we've got there. And then the other scenario is she just gets back to a walk. Again, she wants to keep going to the left, that's fine. Your only job as a passenger right now is to wait for that opportunity to let her know that do not walk. Like here, touch. So obviously the reason why she's staying at this end of the arena is because there's horses here. And obviously horses are herd animals, so I can't blame her for wanting to be next to her friends. Here she's thinking about walking. I've got to allow her to commit the mistake before I go in and touch her with my legs and ask her to trot. There we go. Now we're starting to relax. Good girl. Good girl, Bana. There you go. That's it. You're figuring out you can go anywhere. No restrictions. Just trot, that's all. It's my only request. Good girl. And if you do let go, like I'm stupidly doing, try to work on your seat. Ride every stride of your horse's gait, like every single moment. Don't anticipate them going left. Don't anticipate them going right. Just go with wherever they're going. It's a good exercise for the rider as well. And every chance I get, if she's going to the right, I'll rise on the left leg. If she's going to the left, I'll rise on the right leg. And hopefully she'll start to choose to go right a little bit so we can rise on the left leg a bit more. Keep her nicely balanced. So we're already at 4 minutes. Typically, you do want to do this for a lot longer. And you don't have to be stupid about this. If your horse is about to take your knee off on the fence, pick up a rein, move him off the fence. Protect yourself first, then protect your horse, and then come out with something beautiful would be a bonus. So she's doing this quite well. Note, doesn't mean that she's done it once in one tiny session for 5 minutes that you've got yourself a nice broke horse that knows how to do everything. Horses are expensive. At least well-trained ones are expensive. Reason being, they require a hell of a lot of time to work with so that they really get good, and then they need to be able to be maintained at that level. So if you stop doing something with them and then come back to it in the future, you'll find that they've regressed. So you've got to really keep picking things that you want to work on. And keep changing that thing every day, every time you ride them. Do a little bit of focused work. I'm gonna pick up a rein here, send her left, because I want to rise on that left hand side a little bit. But you see how she's really calm now? That's because we've let her figure out that trotting is not an activity that you have to think about. You're trotting, okay, now forget it. Reset. Now, clear my mind. What is it that he's asking for? That's what I need. And if you're thinking, okay, 5 minutes are up, now I should stop her somewhere. Question for you, where would you stop this horse? Would you stop her here? There, front of the camera? Or would you stop her somewhere that she hasn't been before? And why? Why would you do that? So I really think she's got the idea. She wants to walk, but she's maintaining a slow trot. So here, is where I'd stop her. Because we haven't been to this area so much. She hasn't really explored. So I want to let her know that wherever she's choosing to go, it's fine, a bit of hard work, but there's other areas in the arena where if you explore, it's actually a nice experience. So releasing all that, let's call it pressure, maybe for her. I mean, you just think, which one's easier, standing still or trotting? Obviously, standing still is easier, more comfortable than trotting. So if she stands still here, and when I ask her to trot, she goes all over the place, especially in that area, I can pretty much guarantee you that this horse will start to seek out this area. She'll probably trot a few circles there, and then after a couple of minutes, she'll come over here. And in her mind, she's actually asking me, is it okay if I rest here? So honestly, a few minutes ago, before we actually started this session, when I was talking, I felt like she was agitated, like she was almost pissed off with me, stomping her legs. She wouldn't stand still, backing up, pinning her ears, all this kind of stuff. But I'm not going to meet her at that level. I'm going to say, you do what you need to do. I'm working on something a little bit different, and I'm going to wait for you to catch up. You know, if you need to have a tantrum, I don't mind throughout this process. Have a tantrum, it's fine. But at some stage, you're going to realize tantrums they're not helping you, they're not helping me, and there's no point in having them. So there, I'm going to ask her to trot off for another 5 minutes. Now, why am I asking her to trot off for another 5 minutes? She stood still, had her standing still, she picked up that front left leg and started to stomp her foot. I say, fine, you know what? You want to move, we're going to move. This time I might actually do 10 minutes. And I might actually add some changes of direction. Which we really haven't done much before. But might as well add that into the curriculum because she's not so bothered about trotting now, we know. But she needs to understand that, hey, if I say go, if I say stop, just don't argue. So kicking out here, I'm gonna keep her bent and I'm gonna kick her, and then just say, let's move. And then back to normal. Why do I kick her? Because she's kicking at me. Okay? She has to know that she's a strong horse, yes. But I understand what you're actually saying to me there. You're saying, I hate you. Don't you dare ask me to do something I don't feel like doing. So I'm just going to very gently explain to her that I can ask what I want, but I'm always going to be respectful. The other thing I want you to notice is when I was kicking her, I don't have any spurs on, and it really wasn't as hard as I could go by any means. And even if I did go hard with my leg, it doesn't hurt. It's just going to give her additional pressure, almost mental stress to feel like, ooh, shit, what happened? Why is it like that? What would you? Just to give her that element of, whoa, okay, I kicked and the world went crazy. But at the same time, you've got to be smart. Don't kick them when they're in a straight line. You've got to bend their head a little bit because then they're crossing their back legs and it's very difficult for them to kick out or to buck or to, worse, even rear. Now, I gave you a chance before. Now we're not going to stop. In fact, we're going to go a little bit faster. So, you know what the difference is between somebody who's kind Hold on. There's a huge difference between somebody who's actually kind-hearted, and somebody who is helpless and weak. So a kind person, or let's say a person that cannot stand up for himself ever, and is generally a kind person, like is nice to people, doesn't mind if people say a few bad things or do a few bad things to him. That's a helpless person. That's a weak person. I'm not sort of criticizing, I'm just saying lessons I give to my kids. On the other hand, the true definition of a kind, gentle person is a person that actually can be an absolute warrior. But that warrior spirit, that aggression, that monster on the inside is always hidden in a cage. not allowed to come out. And the person chooses to be kind, chooses to be peaceful, chooses to forgive. You can only forgive when you're in a position of power. Forgiving when you got no power is pointless. You got no power. You have to forgive, because there's nothing you can do, you know? Okay, now I'm going to come back and ask her. Ooh. Going to drop the reins, and this is part of what you're going to be going through. It's important for me to have this full unedited version. So because when I was learning, I mean, that was the hardest thing for me, was to actually find full training sessions where, okay, well, how long do they do that for? How many times do they repeat it? When do they actually stop? How much pressure do I have to add? All of these questions sometimes are very difficult to get the answers to if you don't have the full unedited version of a session. So in this particular video, maybe non-horsey people will be thinking, okay, I've seen enough, I'll move on. Horsey people, like myself, would actually be watching this at 2 a.m, analyzing every damn step. Throw in a comment if that's you. Throw in a comment if it's not you, if you're just here just because you're thinking, it's kind of nice to watch. So what are we sitting here doing? What are we looking for? I'm looking for that attitude to come out. I'm looking for her to say, I don't want to stand. I said, okay, then you don't have to stand. Let's go for another 10 minutes of a trot. I'm not wishing her to do it. Just sitting here thinking. Great place to, in the session, just to give her a bit of rest. She's not breathing heavy at all, but still, nice time to give her a rest. Anyway, so when you need to get a little bit firm with your horse, just remember, to be a good horse person or horseman, you do need to be this kind of alpha type person on the inside, where you've got a monster living inside of you, but then you've learned over the years, and you've learned through working with horses, working with human beings, helping others, you've learned that aggression and violence, hatred, all of these negative things give you no good results, ever. So that monster inside needs to be caged, needs to be buried, okay? And then, in an instance where you see some criminal abuse a woman, abuse a child in front of you, unleash the hell out of that demon inside of you and go for it, you know? But only in very specific cases. With these gentle beings, you just need to let them know, hey, I've got a bit of firmness inside of me here, but I will always choose to be kind. I hope that has answered whatever questions that may have come up when you watch that correction there. That's not stomping, that's just flicking the flies. So she's asked to walk. I gave her a chance there. If she took one other, yeah. Okay, so here we go. But this time I'm not going to make it as comfortable as I did before. Now these transitions are going to come back again, and I'm going to be transitioning using turns. Okay, so if I feel her go right, I'm going to go left. If she goes left, I'm going to go right. So she's going right. I'm going to go left. So this time it's going to be an added level of work. She goes left, I go right. Stop, go left, and I'm using this fence right next to me here to help me with these turns. So I'm not really pulling her nose or doing anything. I'm just pointing her face in the direction of the fence. And she's saying, whoop, I probably need to turn. So what am I doing here? This is a little bit of reverse psychology. She's saying, I don't want to stand still. I want to walk somewhere. I'm going to say, no, even better than that. Why don't you trot off somewhere? Back up. Okay, up to you. What would you like to do? I can stand here for 10 minutes, just stroking you, letting you know everything is good. It's completely up to you if you want to take a walk or stand. I want to open up a subject here. It's a very deep subject. Could potentially be life-changing for the people, including myself, that can understand it and live it. But I'm worried that she's going to take a step and I'm going to cut halfway in between and I'm not going to be able to get the full message out. I might do that a different day, but mental note to talk about any issue you see on the outside of you, okay? Whether that be abuse at the home, in the home, abuse at a school, somebody's bullying, famine, hunger, thirst, people dying of plagues and sicknesses and diseases, wars going on. You may think that you have nothing to do with it, but after the explanation that we go through, some of you may actually understand that external manifestation, let's say, I'll go into more detail on what that actually means, is a reflection of contradictions and wars and abuse that is going on all inside of yourself. Man. So what do you guys think? Is she done with the walking off and stomping her feet? For me, good enough, you know. I'm not here to make sure that she never makes that mistake ever again. She will make the mistake, but I think the message has been received that you can just stand chilled here, Bana. You don't have to do anything. It's fine, you know. Just because I'm on your back doesn't mean we have to be trotting and moving and working and getting tired and all that. We can actually just do this. We can go to a supermarket, stand outside and ask the nice guys on the inside to come bring us some tea. I get off your back, sit on the curb, speak to a few people in their cars, drink the tea, give you some water. You know, we can just chill. We don't need to do anything fancy. Okay? Good girl. Okay, so I think now is the time to start with the canter. Okay? Now the canter is before you start the canter, you've got to have some strategies of what you're going to do if things go wrong. It's a big arena. A horse could slip and slide and fall and trip, and she could take off in a full gallop, and I don't have any way of stopping her. She could bash through a fence. She could buck in the middle of cantering. She could do so many things. So you and me, we need to agree to stay safe and keep the horse safe. What do you think is the best way to start this cruising session in the canter? Is it get her to canter, hold on, and let her just find her feet? Or is it to build in that mentality, that thought of, he's asked me to canter, oh, the trot's gonna come. He's gonna ask me to trot, oh, he's gonna ask me to walk, oh, he's gonna ask me to canter. Which strategy would you go with first? Definitely from a safety perspective, I'd go for the second one first. So I'm gonna ask her to trot for a little bit, and then I'm gonna ask her to take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 steps in the canter, and then I'm gonna breathe out, bring it back into a trot. That she may just do that automatically off my seat. I may need to pick up on my reins. I may need to bend her a little bit, whatever it is, but I need to get her back to a trot. And then potentially if she's trotting fast, I'm gonna wait a little bit until she calms down and then ask her to walk. And then I'm gonna, again, ask her for that canter. So there's gonna be a lot of transitions initially until I feel like, okay, she can do maybe 15, 20, 30 steps. Okay, so we're gonna build it up. Here we go. So already ask for that trot. When we get away from these poles, I'll ask for a canter. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, pick up. That's good enough. Now she's trotting very forwards because those brain waves have gone crazy right now. Hopefully you guys can notice that on the video. She's no longer relaxed just because I asked her to canter. Now she's coming back to getting soft. Ask her for the walk, pick up, and let her walk. Let her know. Get back to your steady state, calm mental state. Cantering is not crazy stuff. We're gonna introduce this to you a few times, and then you should start to find that there's no major deal in cantering. Just gently ask her to trot. Good girl. Oh. So you can see, you could think that is playful, could be maybe she's not used to how things are moving, how things are feeling. She's exploring how to get herself comfortable. Don't punish that. I mean, that's her first time. Just let her explore. It's so important to let your horses explore. Your job is to create that safe environment to explore. Okay, I'm gonna canter on this side. So right there, I almost fell off because I thought she was going left and she went right. So I was lucky that I had my hand on the horn. Okay, that's fine. Okay, canter. Now she's taken off. The cool thing about this riding in a rope halter is she fully understands what halter pressure means. And when I pull back, I'm not damaging her mouth, not damaging any sensitivity. There's no pain involved. So I can actually slow her down with just direct pressure to her. And honestly, it's, for now, it doesn't feel hard to do it at all. It's kind of just pick up with a little bit of pressure, and then she figures it out. Good. Okay. So how long is it going to take for us to get to the level where I can let her canter for a while? That's going to be answered, because I don't know. Let's see. Good girl. Well done. Very nice. So she wants to get into an excited state. I'm going to do the opposite of what she wants to do. She wants to go forwards like this. I'm going to stop her. I'm going to go backwards. She wants to go forwards. So this is her brain waves going on steroids now. There's too much excitement for her to be able to stay calm. So we need to get her back to a nice mental state where she's not expecting me to ask her to canter. I'd rather she expects me to ask her to stop. Okay, now we're in a nicer frame of mind. Can you see she's not, oh, she's thinking about stopping. That's a good time now to say, okay, now let's think of canter in that mental state. Doesn't matter which lead they go on. Here we go. Now, that canter, okay, she had her head up and down and throwing her head left and right. I'm going to consider that just playful initially. Give her the benefit of the doubt, trying to figure out what feels comfortable. But the other thing that I'm noticing is two things. She didn't really speed up that much in the canter. She was cantering, felt very nice actually. That's one. The second thing is I'm trying to take note of how long it takes her to come back down to a calm mental state after we've done that canter. Okay? Those are all sort of indicators of the progress that I'm making with her. So this is really good. Much better than how we were there before. I just dropped the reins, she trotted, and now I'm dropping the reins. She's not going anywhere. She's actually thinking of stopping here. It's perfect. A canter with stop on her mind is perfect for me. Okay, I'm going to ask her to canter. Good girl. Okay, I might push her through this now because this is enough. So this one, find your stride. Here's what we're trying to do right now. You can find your stride. There we go. There we go. Well done. Come back down to a walk. Okay, how long does it take you to Calm your head down. Much, much better. Okay, there, I've got to go through some, can't explain everything before it happens. There I thought, you know what, it feels comfortable, I feel safe. She feels like she needs to stretch her legs and just, you know, get moving. Fine. So I pushed her through that. Very calm, very nice. We're gonna ask her for that canter again. Okay. So it's good that she's got stop on her mind. She's thinking, when is he going to ask me to stop? Here's where I'm going to ask. Just off of my seat. Let's see how long it takes her to calm down in her mind. Let her know that cantering is fine. And now she can just walk. So actually, it's taken her a lot less time than I expected. And I think because of her mentality, she's a nicely balanced horse in her mind, you know. She's got a dominant nature, which is great, it's fine. And not so spooky. She's just a really good partner for the right human. So she's figured it out. I allow her to explore. Again, I can't stress enough about you creating the right, safe environment for her to explore and find the answer of what it is that you're asking for. I mean, apply that to organizations. Apply that to the classroom. Apply that to R&D. Apply that to your relationship with your wife or your husband. Apply that to your children, which is what we all try to do, right? We try to create a safe space and not guide them every single step of the way so they don't have a mind of their own. She has a mind of her own. I'm saying, in this area here, play. Find it. Okay? Explore. It's great stuff. Canter. This time we're going to go off to the right because we haven't done it. So again, you can see she was on the wrong lead, but it doesn't matter for now. Doesn't matter. There you go. Now she got it. That's okay. You do not get angry with that. You allow them to explore. Good girl. Ride every stride. Now where's she gonna go? So you're gonna hold her back here, try to get her on that correct lead. Nope, it's fine. We'll leave it alone for now. Now here, this is what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for. A nice forward canter, no attitude. So she did really nicely there. I'm gonna walk her, let her breathe. She's holding her breath there. Right now, she's really holding her breath. She's got to blow out. Blow out. So I'm gonna keep walking until she does blow out. I need her mind to really calm down again. So another potential, I'm sure any teachers out there, if you can help me out with this one, help with, explaining the fact that a child or a student who's under mental stress, can they really take in that information? Or what do you do? How do you get them to the right state of mind to be able to take in and absorb the information in a fun and exciting and interesting way? So this is good. Okay, so I'm gonna go with her, I'm gonna go 5 minutes, okay? And I am gonna try to get her on her right lead, because even though typically you can just do this on one lead for a week or so and then, figure it out. But I am going to try to get on a right lead if I can. And then we're going to go for a good 5 minutes. So let me put my timer on. And good girl. And here the correction is going to be a little bit more fine-tuned. I am going to correct it to a thought. So if she thinks about trotting, I'm going to immediately go in and correct it, because I do want to get this done this session. We've got a lot of work to do, and I need to depend on her for a couple of things that are coming up. So, and I feel like I'm not pushing her in an unfair way. She can handle this, I can tell. As soon as I sniff that thought of wanting to trot, I'm going to go in with that touch of my leg. Okay, if she wants to switch here, I'm gonna let her, but we're gonna have to continue to canter. And just attention to the reins. I'm not holding her. She's going at the speed that she feels is right. Here. Good girl. Got about a minute left. Again, I'm not guiding. So she's going towards the middle, thinking that that's a place of rest. I'm not telling her to go there. I'm not telling her to do anything. Apart from canter. That's it. One instruction. One message. Fairly requested. Understood. "34 seconds. And I'm going to finish her off actually on the right lead. Why? Again, I want her to know right lead is good. Right lead will get you to rest. Will rest you after you do your right lead. So you can tell the horse is cantering with stop on its mind. Yeah? I just stopped riding and she stopped. She wasn't thinking, run away. That's what we need. Because think of it this way. If a horse is thinking, go, 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 and you're thinking, no, 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 you end up getting into a big, massive fight with your horse the entire time. And that's as clear as day, that the horse has one idea, you have a different idea, and you guys are communicating through force. Zero understanding. The other way is, she's waiting for me to tell her what it is that I want. Now we're aligned. So that means if she's going slow in the canter, because I'm not asking for anything more, rest assured, if I touch her with my legs and I give her a little bit of extra motivation, she will go fast. You know? So I'm very, very pleased that we've had this session with her. I like how her nostrils are flaring a little bit, means that she did get a bit of a cardio workout. All of the previous days, all of them, were about the mentality of the horse. All of them. Today's the first day where, of course, the mentality of the horse is the main thing, but she also got a nice physical workout. Perfect. I'm very, very happy with the progress. So in summary, start off with transitions so that your horse is thinking transition down, transition back to a stop, back to a walk. Do as many of those as you need to until your horse is walking like it's super chilled. Once at the walk it's good, do that at the trot. Your horse has to show you that your horse is not wanting to take off. Once you've got that, then go for the canter. Again, keep those transitions back to the trot. Make sure you're not going for 100 steps immediately and grabbing your horse's face. But start off doing that 5 steps, 6 steps, 7 steps, and before you know it, we were just going all over the arena without me holding her to stop her from going, and she was going for a nice forwards canter with the idea of, I'm waiting, when's he going to ask me to stop? And the attitude that I talked about before, that's basically, this kind of stuff takes care of it. So don't get emotionally insulted that the horse is saying, piss off. No, she's allowed. Let her do that. Let her say that, okay? Let her express herself. Be the more, let's say, mature person in the relationship and allow her to explore that. Let her know there's no trouble. She's not in any trouble. We can work through this together. And then eventually she's like, oh, no need to resist. There's nothing to hate about this guy. He's a good guy. He's a fair guy. He treats me well. I understand everything he's asking me. And I love you, yes. I guarantee there's a lot of Arabian horses that are like 12, 13, 14 years old. Take them for a good old canter, then drop the reins on them. Good luck at getting them to walk. So this is where it starts off. Right, there's one final thing that because we're done with the actual physical training. But there's one thing mainly that I want to work on, because she's starting to get a little bit twitchy with me getting on and off. Okay, she's moving quite a bit. So I want to get on and off a couple of times. Let her know, if you stand still when I get on, I'll get off. Stand still when I get on, I'll get off. And then that's the end of the session. So be smart about what you're trying to do. Okay, so let her know that I'm coming. 1, 2, 3. That's perfect. But you saw she got a little bit worried when I stepped off her back. I need that to also go, right? We need to become at the level where she just implicitly trusts me. Like there's not a thought in her mind. Remember this, yield the 4 quarters. Yield the 4 quarters. She pushed into me with her face. She pushed into me with her face. I'm going to put a stop to that once and for all. And then come back. No more pushing into me ever again. Okay? So obviously, when you're going for these corrections, you've got to balance it out. Okay? You don't do it with anger, but you do it firmly. And then you immediately go back and make sure that you see how she's kind of nervous here? She needs to understand that I'm not really going to come back and bump her and push her shoulders away from me. That we're good friends here. There we go. So it's just balancing out the horse. Okay. So working on just getting on. I want her just to stand still. Perfect. That, she feels rock solid now. She does not feel like she wants to take off. Now's the right time to get off. Well done. So I hope that you guys are enjoying watching the progress with her. And if you do have any questions about, things that we haven't covered at this stage with this particular exercise, feel free to get in touch. Honestly, I'm doing this just to get information out there, so I'm motivated to answer questions. And more than happy to spend a lot of time doing that as well, because I've got maybe 2 to 3 months where I'm free, and I'd like to get this all out of my system, right? It's because it's interesting watching myself 5 years ago, watching myself today, 2 different people completely. So things progress. So yeah, I do want to try to get as much as I can done in the next at least 2 months. So any ideas, any conversations that we can have, shoot them across and we'll do something nice together. Anyway, thanks for watching. Till the next time.